Hey, Jeff here. Once again, I want to talk about a movie called The Experiment, which you probably seen maybe previews for on DVDs and stuff, but I don't think it was in theaters. I think I kind of understand why. It's kind of strange. It's like it stars Adrian Brody and Forrest Whitaker. They're both Oscar winners, and it goes like basically straight to DVD. If it was in theaters, it was in theaters pretty damn briefly. Um, It's a remake of a German film called Das Experiment, which is supposedly pretty damn good. And it's kind of, I mean, the idea definitely comes, it's based on the 1971 Stanford University experiment, where they put like a bunch of college students and they said, they divided them randomly and said, you guys are guards and you guys are prisoners. And very quickly the guards started abusing the prisoners. The experiment was supposed to go for like 2 weeks or something, and it ended within a couple days because it really got out of hand, and the guards were so like severely abusing the prisoners, like doing sexual stuff to them, doing just dominating them in very strange ways, and humiliating them. And the movie is based on that. And you see the preview, it looks good. I know about the real life experiment. I'm like, that's great grounds for like a little like psychological thriller or like drama. But sometimes a great cast and a great premise, they just aren't enough. Um, the problems with the experiment really kind of they start with the writing and they end with the directing, and both those things, especially the writing, it just kind of fails. It feels like it was made to be a made to straight to video movie. It feels like something that's material that's in the hands of the wrong people, and that's unfortunate considering the cast they were able to put together on it. Now I'm kind of reading for my review when I look at this, but and I'll put a link to my actual review, my written review. But uh, basically it's just a bunch of people that need some money, and they go into this experiment not knowing much about it. And you have Adrian Brody is like this like hippie, not really hippie, but whatever. Yeah, kind of like a non-violent protest dude, and then you have Forrest Whitaker. He's like this repressed mama's boy, religious. Comes from a religious family, and guess who gets put into which group? You know, would it surprise you that Forrest Whitaker becomes a guard and becomes severely abusive, or that Adrian Brody is a prisoner who tries to like stand up for the other prisoners? I said in my review, like every character is a stereotype. Um, the movie misses the point of the Stanford study. If I remember correctly, it's like the subjects they were divided randomly. That's part of how you do an experiment into prisoners and guards, and then they filled their roles, and that's kind of the lesson of the experiment is that it doesn't matter. You could put me, you can make me a guard, and I'll be an asshole. You can make me a prisoner, and I'll be submissive. Um, Here, like the subjects, they're like interviewed a lot, and they're divided by their personalities, or it sort of seems that way. So they might abuse authority if they're going to be selected to be guards. I said in my review, wouldn't it be more interesting if Brody's character was selected to be a guard and he started going crazy and abusing prisoners? Or, but instead the movie, it kind of just goes for more conventional entertainment, and it's very mediocre because of it. It kind of it misses the point of the experiment in a way. I think maybe the filmmakers thought they were like pitting the rebel guy against the churchgoer, so it was flipped. Like it was like who you wouldn't think in each role, but it's kind of too obvious. and it's, as I said, ham-fistedly political, and everyone expects Forrest Whitaker to go fucking nuts anyways if you've seen him do anything. And everything kind of moves quickly. It doesn't have much of a every like step along the way doesn't feel real to you. An example I put in my review is like, is it really possible that not a single one of the grown men playing the guards would know that a diabetic needs insulin shots? And unfortunately, too much of the plot hinges on that flimsy contrivance. Like, one of the prisoners, he's diabetic and he needs insulin shots, and they're like, one of the guards is like, "Oh no, that's bullshit. They don't need them. They'll be fine," and everyone believes him. And that kind of goes into another experiment where, like, a psychological experiment, where if one person says something, everyone else will agree, even if they don't agree. At the same time, it's just like, what grown man doesn't know that a diabetic might need an insulin shot? It's fucking stupid. And like, a lot of the plot hangs on that, and a lot of the plot hangs on things like that, where it's like the most routine thing that you would think. I don't know. It gets taken out of hand. That's the point of the movie, but I don't buy it. I don't believe that that would happen. Another problem with it is the movie, it leans on like a money motivation a little too much. Like, they're all getting paid for the experiment, kind of pretty nicely, and so they don't want to screw it up, or like they'll let it go on more than it should because they want the money. And I don't think of that in the original experiment. Like, money was a huge factor. I think people just did what they did because they did it. Uh, Adrian Brody and Forrest Whitaker, they're pretty good in it. They're both playing roles that they've done before, so it's a little bit familiar. But the problem is, like, they have to deliver some of the corniest lines you ever heard, and keep a straight face. The actors are good. Like, they're not the problem with it. And Clifton, I'm reading from my review, so I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. But like Clifton Collins Jr., he plays like a cellmate with Adrian Brody. He's good in it, and so is this other nerdy guy who needs the insulin. And I mean, they're all good in it. But like I said in the review, they add credibility to a project that I don't think really deserves it. I don't think this is a very good movie at all. I think the experiment kind of squanders a premise that was really like poised for greatness, or at least a very good movie. And the problem is, it's the pacing is just too fast, the dialogue's corny, and the plot developments are hard to swallow. There's gonna be people that just like it. They're gonna think I'm missing the point of it, but I'm not. I get the point of it, and I think it kind of, that's a problem. It telegraphs too many things that it's gonna do. You see everything coming from so far away, and none of the emotional moments connected with me. Um, and like I said in the review, that's, I think, one of the worst things you could say about any story is like, you don't connect with anything that's happening. You're like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. How good did they do? Let me rate it. But in a great movie, I'm sitting there like, I'm engaged. I'm on the edge of my seat. I really care about the characters and what's happening. I got none of that in the experiment. And I think the movie, I went back after I saw it and I looked up like some of the things that happened in the actual experiment. I thought it was cool. Like, they did extrapolate stuff that happened in the experiment, and they put it into this movie, and they put it into dramatic form. And they kind of stuck. They didn't stick too closely to the experiment. They made tried to make a movie out of it. They didn't claim to. It doesn't claim to be based on a true story or fact based, and but they did, like, they followed a lot of what happened, made it more dramatic. I appreciate the attempt, but it doesn't work. The writing's off, dialogue's off, the directing is a little bit off. It's sad because you have a bunch of very capable actors doing what they can do to make this stuff work, and it just doesn't work. I think the I think the best thing you could say about the experiment is that if people see it, they're gonna want to know about the actual thing. If they realize that it's actually real, because if you see this, you'd be like, you wouldn't necessarily think that there would be an actual psychological experiment like this, because there would never would be anymore. Because after that happened, nothing like that would happen again. That's the best thing that the movie could deliver. But honestly, if there's like a documentary about it out there, which I'm sure there is, seek that out. Read about it on Wikipedia. You'll get everything you need to out of it. Not a very good movie. The actors try to deliver, but they're forced to deliver a lot of shit. So I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching.